With the NFL season over halfway complete, there are several teams that have reached the status of contender. Meanwhile, there are a few teams that were considered contenders but are now being placed in the pretender phase. Thursday night's game is a perfect illustration of two teams going in separate directions. Want to find out what is going to be the keys to this matchup and who's going to come out victorious? Stay tuned to find out on Gridiron Gab Pro Style.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dirk! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Woo! 85! Crying out loud! You're kidding me! You're driving me nuts!
But behold,
Welcome back, Gabbers. Thank you all for hanging out with us to gab a little bit. You all know I am Mr. CeeLo. Here checking things out, and tell you the truth, this season has been crazy. I'm going to have to update you guys a little bit. You guys know what's going on, but I want to give you guys the lowdown of what I believe and what I think. And it's really been fun watching this season. And Thursday night is going to give us a kind of a true description of what we've seen this season. Now, you know, we always have our ideas of who's going to be what, who's going to be great, which teams are going to be the favorites to win, you know, so on and so forth. But unfortunately, there haven't been very many, well, I'm not going to say not many, but there's been several hiccups that myself and many of the analysts did not foresee coming. One of them being a team that we're going to talk about tonight in the New York Jets, as they will face off against the Houston Texans. Now, the reason why this game, in my opinion, has any kind of questions, especially given that the Texans are considered underdogs against the Jets, and I think a lot of the questions revolve around the fact that the Houston Texans now have Nico Collins on IR and Stephon Diggs on IR. But the real issue that I see with a lot of people, and of course Dameon Pierce has now been announced as being out for this game, along with Jarrett Patterson, along with Ladarius Henderson. The Jarrett Patterson being out is huge, and then you got Azeez Algier is also out, along with Jimmy Ward. These are some huge lack thereofs not showing up in New York. But I still think the most important key to Houston's success has been one Joe Mixon. Now, we can't say enough about C.J. Stroud. You guys know how I feel about Stroud. I think he's just the best thing since buttered popcorn with caramel.
What?
But C.J. Stroud now has the running mate. Do you guys remember the show I did about why the Texans can unseat and stop Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs? It's that very reason. Because now they have Joe Mixon. Now, granted, Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins are on IR. But I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. But I just did a show about the Ravens taking Deontay Johnson. This is why I think the Carolina Panthers were just too jumpy. They should have waited. Because I believe the Houston Texans did not want to make a deal this fast. Because they had the same kind of deal with Stephon Diggs. A one-year deal trade. That was almost like a, we're going to rent you, or we're going to lease you for a bit and see what you do. That's why they were willing to terminate the last 3 years of his deal. Then you look at, they've got John Mechie still, who still has yet to make an imprint on this offense. This could be an opportunity for him. You still got Robert Woods, as well as Xavier Hutchinson, who happens to be a big receiver. And look, I'm going to tell you something. You've got a guy in Xavier Hutchinson who could very well be the Nico Collins. I mean, it's very, very possible. I mean, I get it. People are going to say, well, he had long enough, but now there's no Stephon Diggs eating it up. The scary part right now is it goes back to C.J. Stroud playing C.J. Stroud ball. He's spreading the ball around. And then you got to add in the forgotten guy who happens to be, right now, I'm going to say it like this. Joe Mixon would be leading the National Football League in carries had he not missed 2 games. Or was it 3? I think he missed 3 games. You're talking about a guy that's at 503 yards on 102 carries. He's averaging right at 5 yards a tote. He's straight killing it for the Texans. Straight killing it. And here's where you run into the issue with the foundering Jets. They ain't good stopping the run. This don't look good for the Jets. But this is a Thursday night game, you guys. How many times have we seen, me and a friend of the show who happens to be my brother, we talk about this all the time. Teams show up on Thursday night, and for some reason, it's almost like playing on Halloween. And what is tomorrow night? Halloween. Which leads me to the keys to the game. Aaron Rodgers ain't trying to go out like this, because right now I am very torn between who's going to, because the Texans are supposed to win this game. They're supposed to win this game. Not on the back of C.J. Stroud, but why do I see Bobby Slowick trying to go out here and just throw the ball all over the yard when all he's got to do is hand it off? Doesn't that sound like a team that we all know about? Go watch the last show. That'll tell you exactly what you need to know. You get a lot of OCs, and maybe one day I'll get enough traction that these coaches will watch this show and they'll understand what they need to do. If the Texans just run the football, if they just run the ball, this game should not be a problem. I wouldn't suspect C.J. Stroud would need to drop back any more than 25 times, but it's Halloween. Anything can happen. And I've been a sucker for the favorites on Thursday night, and they seemingly always come back to bite me. So I can't afford to allow this one to bite me. But I sense this as being one of those games where Jared Patterson being out is probably going to hinder, even though I think Kenyon Green is going to be pretty good, and we never know. It may be Blake Fisher they stick in there and play tackle. Guard. We don't know. But I don't think this is going to hurt them nearly as much. I think the big issue for the Texans is going to be whether Jalen Petrie is going to be able to be the type of replacement that they're going to need him to be. We don't know. Even though Texans defense is up and down when it comes to how they play on both sides of the ball, some games they're great against the pass, some games they struggle against the run. Some games they struggle against the pass. It truly depends on which Texans team shows up. That's my opinion on defense. Because they've shown the ability to be number one against the pass, number one against the run. But again, like I've said before, it's Halloween. Again, where I have a problem with the Jets, they can't seem to get it together on either side of the ball. And I agree 100%. When I saw Robert Saleh walk out that door, he seemed like the most stable coach in there. Now, in my opinion, there were a lot of people that were calling for his removal. Now it's looking more like, why did y'all do that? What was that? And really? The question that needs to be asked is, who made that decision? Because right now it's looking like not arguably the worst decision, but absolutely the worst decision of the season, but one of the worst decisions in the entire organization's history. Because right now, even with the Devontae Adams move, you still can't get it done. And your season is all but over. You got to win this game right here. This is not even a question of if you can win it. You don't have a choice. I will go ahead and I will give the Jets this. You're 2-6 with 9 to play. If you can go 8-1, including winning this one, because there's only one more game on here. This actually looks like the toughest game you have. To me, you have to pull this one out. You got to pull this one out to get any kind of momentum. I will give you going to the playoffs because you could run off a string of wins with the schedule you got coming up. Looking like the toughest game you're going to have is going to be the Seahawks, barring that Tua Tagovailoa doesn't get back to full strength. And of course, you do have the Buffalo Bills one last time, but Buffalo is kind of up and down. It's hard to tell. As I said, if you can get this one, I still have hope for you. I still have hope. And the way you're going to get this game is you're going to have to turn over C.J. Stroud, and you got to find some way to stop Joe Mixon. But if Bobby Slowick comes out there and decides he wants C.J. Stroud to throw it all over the yard, y'all got a very good chance. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to give you 2 predictions. And I know a lot of people are like, that's not fair. Well, I can't control the coaching. If Joe Mixon carries the ball more than 15 times, the Jets are not going to win this game. Because they can't stop the run. They're struggling stopping the run. Now, I will give you a guarantee on this other side. And it all falls on one guy. And it's Bobby Slowick and what he does with Joe Mixon. And these guys will have a return for a touchdown. And I'm talking about the Jets. The Jets will have a return of an interception or fumble for a touchdown. That is where I look at this game and say the Jets going to get it. And then I think Aaron Rodgers is able to throw for over 250. Reluctantly, because this offensive line is not very good. I think ultimately the Texans are going to give up 250 yards to him on the ground. In the air. And Breece Hall's going to be able to run for close to 100. Not sounding like a dominant Texans defense, but it is Halloween. Enough of that. But as I said, I think if Joe Mixon runs the football, it's going to be 31-21. And Houston. And if Slowick doesn't run the football, and this is not a knock on CJ Stroud, but it's Halloween, you guys. As I was saying, it's Halloween. So, needless to say, this is a situation where crazy things happen. Halloween on a Thursday. So, as I said, I gave y'all 2 predictions, so keep an eye on both of those. It's all going to depend. To me, this game rests in the hands of Bobby Slowick. Not even so much Aaron Rodgers. It's going to rest in the hands of Bobby Slowick. Because this is going to control the tempo of the game. I think Devontae Adams possibly has a coming out party. Possibly. But I think Derek Stingley's going to be chasing him all over the field. So, which makes the talk that we heard earlier about Garrett Wilson being traded just absolutely absurd. They need him. Now, maybe Mike Williams, on the other hand, and we could discuss that. I think Mike Williams is a good trade proposition for a couple of teams out there. Look, maybe the Houston Texans can use him. I think they do. I think C.J. Stroud would be ecstatic to get this guy. If I'm just me, I would love to see Mike Williams paired with C.J. Stroud and that arm he's got. But let me know what you guys think about Thursday night. I'm loving it. I'm thinking it's going to, like I said, I don't usually do 2 predictions, but it's Halloween. But anyway, you guys are great. Thank you for your patience. I know I've been terrible this season. I'm trying to get it together, guys. I'm hopefully got this on track. But hit me down in the comments, you guys. I hope you guys are awesome. Been doing great. Hit me down in the comments. Also, go to the Facebook page at Gridiron Gab Pro Style. Let me know what you think about the other shows that I've done. And also go to Mr. CeeLo on Instagram and check me out. Check my other shows out and see what we got going on. But I hope you guys have a awesome Halloween. I'm not a trick-or-treater, but I hope you guys are out there safe if you're trick-or-treating. Have an awesome time, and don't forget to watch some football. But until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms, for they are here. An army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.